Hello and welcome, Desert Mountain members, to another edition of the Desert Mountain Podcast. My name is Michael Craven. I'm joined by, I have a full table here with me today. Kim, we got to be on our best behavior today. I'm joined by Kim Atkinson. Hello, Kim.
Good morning. Hello, Michael.
We've got some gentlemen in uniform here. Who are these? Who are these two gentlemen that join us today?
Are we in trouble?
I hope not. We are back at the scene of the crime, if you will, from yesterday's Battle of the Badges here at Outlaw today. What are we doing here?
That's right. It is Battle of the Badges week. And what that means is we have hosted the Scottsdale Fire Department and the Scottsdale Police Department in a Battle of the Badges golf tournament. And it happened right here on Outlaw Monday of this week.
And it was it's always a rousing competition between, and I don't know if you two want to.
Let's introduce our guest.
Let's introduce them.
Yeah, so Lieutenant Chuck Cabrera from Scottsdale Police.
Thank you for having me. Yes, it was, I would describe a bloodbath, but
oh no.
We should probably introduce the fireside first.
Sorry. Okay, so Deputy Chief Adam Hoster from Scottsdale Fire. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome, Adam.
I don't know if I'd describe it as a bloodbath, but it was a good, friendly competition.
Good friendly competition. So this tournament has been one that we've hosted here at Outlaw for a few years now, and it's a lot of fun, right? We get everybody together. We're able to thank our first responders. It is just a day for you to come together and have a beautiful day and relax.
I agree.
Very well deserved. We are so appreciative of our first responders and just are very grateful and glad that we could do this. But it was there was a score.
Well, last year it was like 1 point separation. This year, sorry, Adam, to do this, but it was quite a bit of a larger deficit there.
What happened? Jeez.
Let's just get straight to the.
Let's get
to the point.
Okay.
So
yes.
the police showed up, obviously, on Monday. They showed up and they put the score to us. So we had a couple folks that had prior commitments. We had some teams that didn't show up. And our ringers, we had a couple of them playing, but
You needed more ringers.
we needed a couple more. So
Okay. All right. Fair
it
enough.
was a great day overall and greatly appreciated by Desert Mountain for you guys hosting us and having us, and thank you for appreciating us.
Oh, my goodness. And we just love to have fun, right? I mean, the Battle of the Badges, that's a tradition that isn't just on the golf course. I mean, that's just a lot of fun where there's a little bit of ribbing that happens just in general. I
think Lieutenant Cabrera's taking more of a competitive stance over there.
Today?
No. It was fantastic, and like Adam said, we really do appreciate the hospitality you gave us. Obviously, this is post-COVID. Things seem to be going in the right direction, so it was really nice after a 2-year hiatus to come back. And yeah, definitely it did hurt losing by 1 point. So, yeah, we definitely came in with a little more attitude to win. But I got to agree, though, with Adam. I really didn't expect it to be like that. I really thought it'd be really close, probably a couple of points here and there. But the assault that we put on to the fire department, I mean, we're going to have to put out some all-point bulletins looking for some of their guys, because I think we left them out there on the course.
Oh my goodness!
No.
So we'll see.
It's tough because in this competitive venue, and we don't have the accuracy or checking of those scores, so sometimes they may need a little assistance in adding up those scores.
Wow.
I'm not calling it out, but
Okay.
I think he's calling out Peter. I'm not sure, but
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Okay, we got to bring this back, Kim.
Bringing it back.
We don't want to
All
have a
right.
fight over here.
Nope. Everybody, why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be friends?
A little bit of a teaser into the jam, but there you go. It's out there now. So the reason we wanted to have you out today to celebrate and thank you formally to all members who tune into our podcast, but also it's a great opportunity to have a discussion around safety and go through a few key tips that our members can be aware of, whether it's fire safety or security safety. We have an amazing relationship with our HOA and the security forces that are in place there. I just learned that the radios that we use, the entire radio system that the Anderson security team uses, is in place at the fire station. So that means that there's a response time there that is fast-tracked, if you will, because they're in real time with our own security team, which is fantastic. And having you, the fire station right across the street, I know is very reassuring.
Correct. Yeah, we're super excited to open up our new station, one of the newest stations, 616, right there on Cave Creek Road. To help the response times in Desert Mountain, but also, give that close and that feelness and that safety for the Desert Mountain community and the northern Scottsdale area. So
that's right. And so, in terms of that response time, I mean, what would you say is kind of average to reassure our members? I mean, I know some of our homes go a long way up there, but even, coming in through Outlaw today, there's obviously access for police and fire to be getting through our gates quickly and to our members if they need us.
Yeah, really, the thing really is if you feel you have an emergency, do not hesitate. Don't be afraid to call 911. Just call 911. An operator will answer, and they're going to ask you a few questions. Try to answer them as best as you can. And then they will determine if the fire department needs to respond or the police department or both. And the response times are pretty good. I don't know the exact, I don't want to give false numbers. I don't know the exact number, but it's a fairly quick time. We do have officers in the area 24/7. The fire department is right across the street out of the main entrance. So we definitely have a pretty quick response time. We
do. And so let's talk a little bit about safety and security for those who, we're online, we're shopping, we all have cell phones. We get those scams quite a bit, all of us.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Sorry to interrupt, but no. So you mentioned scams, and that's one of the big ones we try to preach to everybody, especially now that we're going into the fall with Thanksgiving right around the corner, which then in turn people start shopping for Christmas. So the thing we like to tell our citizens of Scottsdale is if something sounds too good to be true, 99% of the time it is. And what I mean by that is if you see a good deal online, but it's not from a reputable place that you would normally shop from, chances are it's probably not real. If you're getting something in the mail or you're getting a phone call that you don't know who it is, asking for your credit card information, or they're asking you for your own personal name, date of birth, social security numbers, chances are it's a scam. Do not give it out. Especially your bank or your credit card company or anything you already have business with, they are not going to call you and ask you for your personal information.
You telling me, Lieutenant, that the text I got yesterday with the free 65-inch TV, no, it's probably a no-go?
Exactly. It's likely a scam. Now, the fire guys might end up trying to buy a deal.
Oh, boy.
Goodness gracious.
But no.
Well, makes sense. And then as far as the fire safety side of things, there's an entire initiative that the HOA is undertaking in terms of being fire-wise and
Correct.
Becoming a fire-wise community. So can you talk to us a little bit about what that is and how our members and residents participate in that?
Yeah, so congratulations to Desert Mountain and your HOA community for, accepting that Firewise community. So Firewise is an initiative that was brought back that kind of helps these communities prepare for that urban wildfire interface. So, making sure your defensible spaces, basically the spaces around your home, you're keeping that minimum distance. And what we try to recommend is 30 feet minimum from the base of your house, extending outward, then following your HOA guidelines for landscaping and vegetation. But that also increases. So when you have that defensible space there, in case there was a wildland fire, that helps stop the fuel or stop the fire as it approaches towards these residences. So great job in starting that Firewise community for you guys. In the other general safety terms, we have a great partnership like you just mentioned earlier with your security. So we train your security staff and help them with their CPR training annually here. And they also have, they're all AED certified, so they have the portable automatic external defibrillators. So they actually respond to the calls with us.
Right.
And we talked about response times and how large Desert Mountain as a community is. And like Chuck said, I don't really want to give numbers, but I mean, we'll get there as fast as we can. But some of those extended areas, it might be a little longer. So security may beat us to some of those scenes. And,
right.
And that partnership that we've built with your security team is awesome. So, they have those AEDs in case of those life-threatening emergencies. So
That is very reassuring.
I know there was also a video, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, that kind of went semi-viral about our security team they removed a snake from someone. Did you see that video? Or did you hear about it?
I heard about it.
So yeah, I know that it's cool to have those guys real close. You guys are close, but those guys are even a little bit closer.
I definitely saw something pink kind of slithering at me in the
Oh,
parking
no.
lot one day, and there was a gentleman from Anderson Security right there with the pincher and the bucket. I was grateful. I didn't care that it was pink. It wasn't cute. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'll add to that to say this is one of the things I definitely appreciate the fire department for is, and it just happened to us on Monday during the golf tournament.
Okay.
One of our lieutenants, one of my fellow lieutenants I was golfing with, he was throwing some trash away in one of the bins. I think it was at 14, and there was a snake sitting there right on top of the trash bin. And I've never seen a manly lieutenant such as him scream like a 4-year-old girl.
Oh no.
He was deathly afraid, and he is. We've known this for years. He's definitely afraid of snakes. So that freaked him out, and then I had to call to the clubhouse, and we had to call fire to come and get it. And
We took care of it for you.
I am very appreciative
That
of
could
the fire guys
explain
doing that.
A little bit of a decoy mechanism.
Yeah.
Yes, they could have.
Was the snake real?
Oh, it was real. I saw it.
Okay, I'm just checking because that's
It was pretty big too. It was
awfully strategic.
Yeah. No, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming fire. But we were happy that fire was there to take care of it for us.
I don't know. I mean, thank you for doing that for everybody's sake.
Well, another thing I just want to throw in with the fire department is my partner Patrick and I had an opportunity to go over to the new station and get some content. I think I may have mentioned this before, but I think it bears reiterating. You have a large map of Desert Mountain on the wall in there, which I thought, Desert Mountain members would probably feel comfort in knowing how important our community is to that particular station. We probably make up a pretty large percentage of your calls and your attention. Is that right?
For sure. Yeah. So each one of our stations, we kind of have these generalized maps, what we call our first due maps. So that's your area of response in your first due area. So Desert Mountain is the large majority or the chunk of land that we cover up here in Desert Mountain in North Scottsdale. So, and that just gives our folks, sometimes if we get rovers in there or some newer members in there at that station, they can kind of do some just pinpointing and say, hey, here's our best access to these areas. You know what I mean? So we can kind of do a little visualization of that area for the crews that don't work up here on a consistent basis.
Very good.
It's awesome.
Very good. So we were able to show you around at 7 last time you were here. And I did have a note from the HOA that I needed to share as it relates to security, because our friends at the HOA, Jim Duffy, is the HOA Vice President and Safety and Security Chairman. So he asked me to share this. In case anybody at 7 is listening, we have probably about 40 residents who are also members, so they would be able to see this podcast. But they are manning those gates right now at from 5:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., and they are working toward a 24-hour coverage for gate security in the future. But they did ask me to share the phone number if there was any access issues after those hours, the security dispatch number, which is 480-635-5630. So little PSA for our friends at the HOA and wanting us to share that for those who are moving into the 7 community and the gate coverage that is in place there. All right, so anything else on the safety side, Lieutenant Cabrera, that comes to mind that we could be aware of, that we could do a better job with as citizens?
Well, one of the big ones that comes to mind right now is now that the weather's starting to cool off, it's pretty obvious during the summer, majority of the people do not go out and hike late in the day or walk the trails. And I know up here at Desert Mountain, you guys have a phenomenal trail system up here. So now that the weather's starting to cool down, I'm sure more residents are going to go hiking or walking the trails. But you still need to be reminded that you have to stay hydrated. So that's drinking water the day before you're going to go out and walk or hike. And then the day you're walking and hiking, make sure you have plenty of water with you. It's preferable to go with somebody else, 1 or 2 more people. I would recommend not going by yourself. But also, if you do end up going by yourself, or if you go with somebody, always bring a phone that's fully charged. People tend to forget to charge their phones, and make sure you let somebody else know where you're going, where you're going to be, how long you think you're going to be, and when you will be returning. That way, if there's a situation that we haven't heard from you in 4 or 5 hours, you were supposed to be back in 2. Obviously, you can call the police department. You can call the fire department.
Definitely. This actually begs another point to make for those who love to bring their dogs on the trails. That is a safety issue as well, and there is a city ordinance in place as it relates to dogs on leashes. So it's not just a Desert Mountain rule or something that we decided dogs should be. We love our 4-legged friends. We love having our dogs, but that is a safety issue as well for our residents as well with dogs.
Yes, correct. You should definitely, if you have a dog that is used to going out on the trails and loves doing it, by all means, that's fine. On the city parks and the city trails, dogs are allowed, but they have to be leashed. And if somebody sees or a park employee sees that the dog is under distress, we will politely ask you to basically leave the trail. Please take care of your dog, water them, what have you. But if you have a dog that you've never really been out on the trail before, I would highly recommend just walking your neighborhood versus attempting to walk your dog along the trails, because you could eventually put a lot of stress on your dog. Dogs do not, I don't know if people might not realize, dogs do not naturally sweat.
Right.
So they have to pant, and that could cause a lot of stress and even hopefully, but it could even end up killing a dog. So,
oh goodness, yes.
Highly discourage walking your dogs along the trail unless your dog is used to it or likes doing it, and it's limited time.
That's right, and they need to be on those leashes for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right, and so a little bit of a fun fact: Lyle Anderson, who is the visionary of Desert Mountain, he and Jack Nicholas together began to build out the courses that we're on today, the homes from Lyle and his partners, and they had the vision to actually annex this area into the city of Scottsdale, which gives us the opportunity to sit by these fine gentlemen today.
What would we do if that hadn't happened?
It'd be the Wild Wild West. It literally would be that. And so very grateful for his vision to have those capabilities and have the city support that we have today. Adam, anything on the fire side, anything else that we should be mindful of? Are we a well-behaved community? Do we keep you busy?
You guys are a well-behaved community.
Good.
So,
good.
And I appreciate Chuck, chiming in on the safety aspect, and keeping that safe for the hikers out there. So
yes.
I appreciate that he's almost dual trained, because maybe secretly downside he might want to come over to the fire side.
Oh.
So, but no, he had great information on hiking safety and trail safety, dog safety. It's unfortunate that a lot of folks are not on the trails up here in Desert Mountain,
right.
On a lot of the city trails south of here. We've unfortunately had to do a lot of dog rescues.
Yeah.
Besides regular human rescues
of
as
course.
well, but it's pretty sad and tragic because I'm gonna take my dog on the hike today and it's only 90 degrees, but like Chuck said, they don't perspire, so they pant and they cool themselves through their paws as well, and and dogs won't tell you, hey, I'm tired and I'm hot.
Right, they want to perform, and
unfortunately they just stop walking.
Yeah.
So, and by that time it's almost too late. So trail safety, it's good. He pretty much hit all that stuff on the head. Hydration, and even doesn't even have to be on the trails. Even just walking around the streets through Desert Mountain is obviously proper walking shoes, hydration, cell phone, stuff like that. And you have a lot of critters up here as well.
Yep.
So stay clear of the snakes, and there's bobcats up here, javelina. So
what about Chuck mentioned that the temperatures are starting to cool a little bit. Do you find that people are on high alert for fire maybe over the summer, but then when it starts to cool down a little bit, maybe they become a little bit more complacent with starting fires or that type of thing?
A little bit. I think, since you guys have started your work with the Firewise program, that's helped, alleviate some of those areas where some of the vegetation has become overgrown.
Yeah.
Areas for fire that we're concerned about up in this, in the north end of the city is like lightning strikes. It's not like we're having that many folks. I mean, on the major thoroughfares, like off of Cave Creek, we'll worry about chains from trailers dragging, sparks causing, starting fires off the side of roadways, or people discarding cigarettes, so on and so forth. But we've done a lot of work with the city and with Desert Mountain too to keep those roadways and the extended roadways off of that, clear of the small fuels that can kind of get those fires going. So good proactive work there. As to answer your question, I don't think that's a major issue, when it comes to that, but it's always something that we're preparing for.
And the city, I think we talked about this at lunch. What does the city use as a guide to kind of declare extreme fire danger versus other levels of fire danger? When we see the signage outside our doors on Cave Creek Road, I think we're all kind of following the same sheet of music with that.
Yeah, so we kind of follow Tano's guidelines. So basically, we're in line with them. Those are the actual SMEs when it comes to the
what's
fighting.
SME?
The subject matter expert.
Oh.
So when it comes to wildland fires, we obviously adapt and take care of that. But those folks do that every single day. So they cover all of this north end of the city, including all the county areas as well. And then they'll be deployed wherever assets are needed in this Maricopa County area. So we follow their guidelines. During the summer, we do set up extra what we call brush patrols. So at our fire stations, at certain fire stations, we obviously have a fire engine there, which is a 4-person, 2 paramedics on every fire truck. We also have a brush truck, which is a smaller kind of I guess you could say a pickup truck that's 4x4 that carries a smaller tank of water, about 250 gallons, and a pump and smaller hose to fight those, what we call our wildland fires. So those trucks can go off-road. So during the summer, we will upstaff our crews in what we call brush patrols. So it'll be 2 firefighters on those brush trucks, including the 4 that are on the fire engine as well. So they, in our station right down the road here, 616, we have a brush truck there. So we'll have 6 personnel there during the summer running out of that station. So.
That's reassuring. Well, I did want to also mention too, thank you for that, back to the trails. Any members who are flipping through their winter event guide right now will learn of a lot of guided hikes that are available that the club offers, and there's some show and go hikes that happen regularly. So you literally meet at the trailhead and it's just a hiking meetup. So a good way to kind of meet other members and have that opportunity to stay together and hike the trails. So very good coverage on some just key topics. And again, what a wonderful opportunity to have you out. And I know we love seeing you. We love having your presence here at Desert Mountain. I don't know. Do we have anything else we'd like to share? Any other?
No, I'll add this is that we really do appreciate everything that you've done for us, allowing us to have this golf tournament. And we really do. I know we poke fun back and forth with police and fire, but we have a great relationship with our fire department here. So as far as the citizens are concerned, at any time you guys need anything from us, do not hesitate to give us a call.
We appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Ditto.
What Chuck said.
All right.
All right. Well, we always finish up with great shots from around the mountain. Any holes in one? Any great shots for either of you this week in the tournament?
No holes in one, but I know one of our teams that ended up with the highest score, they shot a 57, which was Commander Tom Myers, Commander Scott Smith, Crime Prevention Officer Brian Hartman, and one of our detective sergeants, Matt Heron. Their squad shot, they had 2 eagles. I don't know which holes, and I don't know which one of them had, obviously, the drive, but they definitely had 2 eagles.
They got the score. They got it done.
Love it.
Wow. How about on the fire side?
And just back to Chuck, that would be the lowest score, not the highest score.
Jeez.
So that's, remember when we talked about scoring and questioning scoring? So
boy.
All fair. I've been poking them the whole time,
All right.
the whole segment.
All
I'm
right.
going to keep my mouth shut.
Yes, no, what a great tournament. I was fortunate enough to play with Jeff Hugel, and he helped us get an eagle. I think it was on 14 or 15, I believe. So we got
Very
an eagle.
nice.
So
Very nice.
Thank you,
Mr.
Jeff.
Hoople. Love
It was
that.
a great day. So
Good deal.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we did have one member last week that we wanted to recognize who had an eagle also right here at 17. That was Vic Santoro. Congratulations, Vic, on that eagle.
Congratulations,
A lot of eagles around here lately.
Love it. All right.
All right.
Congratulations. Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything you do for our communities. We very much appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. Until next week, we'll see you around the mountain.
Thank you, members.